Hey, all my beautiful Pisces rising. How are you today? Welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive and spiritual astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about what a powerful time it is for you. Both March and April have been action-packed in your first house. So let's do a little business before we start. This video is based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Pisces, I'm talking about Pisces rising as dictating the landscape of the chart and being the first house. If you don't know your rising sign, you'll want to go to any one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time and location of birth to determine that information. When I talk about a time and a day, it's based on the Pacific time zone. So please adjust for your location. And if you know astrology and you're familiar with the house systems, and you know the degree of your rising sign, if you are a late degree Pisces rising, you might want to check that first house because it could very well be Aryan. It could even have a little Taurus energy in it, depending upon how your natal chart breaks up in the Placidus system. And I think this is important because I used to look at my chart in whole sign, and I'm a 26-degree Aries rising, and it didn't make as much sense because the Aries energy for me is really 12th house. And when I started to look at it that way, my whole chart made a lot more sense as to how I've experienced my lifetime. Okay, so that's what I want to say about that. Um, we are going to have a full moon and a new moon, which I'm going to be doing separate videos for. So I'm not going to address them here in the monthly, but I will address the dates. The full moon is at 23 degrees of Libra on the 12th of April at 5:22 p.m. This is actually a significant full moon because it is on the fixed star Spica. And that fixed star represents the voice of angels. So I believe many of us will have divine inspirations, illuminations, information, and awarenesses that come through as a full moon is the brightest phase of the moon. And for me, it's not necessarily a culmination, but it is an illumination that brings me into new elements of choice or new opportunities for choice. We have a new moon on the 27th at 7 degrees of Taurus. This will be at 12:31 p.m. Again, I'll be doing a separate video for that. All right, let's just talk about this month of April. Pisces, your first house is lit up like mad. And for me, it's kind of interesting because you've experienced Saturn going through your first house for almost 2 years now. And Saturn has the reputation for restriction, limitation, repression, authority that feels uncomfortable, enduring energies. Most of the time we really talk about this Saturn energy in a very distasteful way. I don't know if I see it that way, especially because as it transits through the house of Pisces, I believe this is about creating a strong connection and communication with my soul and with my team, my heavenly team, my spiritual team, with the laws of attraction. If you don't believe in God at all, there are still universal laws that apply to this earth plane. And Saturn has been tasking each and every one of us, wherever our Pisces energy is, to create a strong connection there and to stop kind of operating under old paradigms that no longer serve us. Like, I've got to pound the pavement. I've got to, beat the stick of my lack in order to create abundance. That's no longer true. So let's pull up the chart. Let's see how this is playing out because it's all about you and your sense of self. And frankly, I think it's about coming out of the dark and into the light. And this would be not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually and through all the facets of being human. Here we see that the month starts off with this huge stellium. It's been there for a while. Mercury is retrograde at 28 degrees. They're all making aspects to Mars in your fifth house of creativity, favorable aspects to Mars, no less. So this bravery to step outside and to focus on the self a little bit. There's a part of Pisces that can be so compassionate that you can literally be absorbed by other people. You can literally inadvertently hang out with a bunch of lower energy people because you feel so sorry for their story. And I think Saturn's trying to wipe that out, and not in a negative way, because everybody deserves compassion and empathy. But sometimes there's opportunities to see that people tend to co-create their challenges, and they're co-creating challenges so that they can create the solutions to them and feel the empowerment of that. So this is what's going on for you. You are being, the North Node, as it moved into your first house, made you ravenous to take advantage of your talents, your skills, your passions. And here, Venus and Mercury are revisiting what do I want to do with those? What are those? Are they really mine, or are they something that I inadvertently picked up from somebody else? When I was a little girl, I was good at some things, a lot of things. I could cook, I could make pillows. I'm mid-century modern. I'm 65 years old, almost 66. And everything I enjoyed doing turned into a job somehow, because my mother made it a job for me and I stopped enjoying it. Saturn could make things feel like a job to you. And I feel like this particular month is about really reviewing what you want for yourself, both using your talents, your skills, and how you make your money as represented in Venus, and then Mercury, the way you think, who you interact with, how you roll in your everyday activities. And both are being supported by Uranus, that's sitting almost on your IC, the very bottom of your chart, offering you a liberation moving into the future, both mentally and potentially physically, because we see that as evidenced by Mars in your fifth house of personal expression, fun, and enjoyment. Now, Mars is not in its greatest favor in Cancer because it has to, address the emotions of other people. But Mars has been honing its skills. Mars understands on some level that Neptune was going to move into its residency. And in that was going to be calling forth the peaceful warrior, the spiritual warrior, the spiritual pioneer. And so here we see that trine to Mars supporting those planets and their evolution. So I think this is ridiculously powerful. Mercury will go direct on the 7th. And as Mercury goes direct, again, it's still in summit with all these, the planets are all in conversation. It's just now, as we move through this month, they're literally going from review into strategizing, I guess the way. Mercury is very much a strategist, a planner, wanting to go into some kind of analyzing so that I can implement a process. So I think that's what's going on as Mercury goes direct, and Saturn is supporting that, as well as Venus. Venus is making an exact, Saturn and Venus are making an exact sextile to Uranus, again, supporting sort of this new way of thinking and giving it endurance, as I am willing to be aware and do the hard work of trusting myself, trusting my talents, trusting my skills, trusting what brings me joy and pleasure is actually viable to create security and bring in resources for me. Mars is about to move into your 6th house. So this would be taking these talents and these skills as they move into your 7th or your 2nd house and allowing them the privilege of the trine they will create to Mars as it moves into your house of money making and of service to others. And what I believe the greatest service to others is to honor our natural gifts and talents and passions. And as we do that, the universe supports that focus. And then we become the spiritual representatives of what can be. Let's go to the 11th. Now, on this 7th, we see that the Sun and Chiron are in a conjunction, but on the 11th, it's exact. Now, this happens every year as long as Chiron has been transiting through your 2nd house of Aries, but it has not happened with a stellium in your 1st house. So here, I really think that this is a transformation of the ego. The 22nd degree is considered a death degree, a kill or be killed degree. It's also a Capricornian degree. So to me, the ego out of balance edges God out. The ego in balance is exciting God opportunities, which then transforms the wound into the gift. And while that may feel a little tense because we do see the square to Mars, it's going to require bravery beyond maybe your, natural habits. Pisces is really helpful. Pisces is really supportive. And now this is about supporting the self. The sun is exalted in your second house during this conjunction. So this really is about thinking about how you can inspire others by inspiring yourself. I want to be like her. I want to do that when I grow up. That's what you have an opportunity to do and to be. On the 13th, we will see Venus move direct. Now, Venus loves being in Pisces. It's her favorite place to be. This is magical for you in your first house because this is so creative. And while she's still in a summit with Saturn, this is about creating strong structures to implement your talents and your skills. As all those planets move, into the second and third house over this next few months, because the personal planets Saturn will move into Aries, then it will retrograde back into your first house with Neptune, and then it will move back in. This is a very strong, this is a polarizing energy. Saturn and Neptune together could be very repressive, very erosive, very stifling. But with your awareness and your mental direction and your creative talents, this could be magical. Magical. And I'm so excited about magic. Disney did it to me. All right. Let's go to the 16th when Mercury will move into Aries and thoughts will become brave and spiritually brave. That 0 degree of Aries where Neptune is going to hang out for a bit. Neptune's going to move up to 2 degrees of Aries before it retrogrades. Saturn's going to catch up with Neptune, as I said, and move retrograde. Right now, as Mercury is on that world axis and Neptune sits on that world axis, this is the degree of the Zodiac, which is the most powerful manifesting degree because it's when the spirit or the soul comes into this dense experience. So this is spiritual thoughts through bravery, through pioneering spirit, and through the use of your talents and your voice. This voice represents not just a singing and speaking voice, but the voice of your opinion. Okay. Let's go now to the 18th when Mars will move into Leo and be very happy. Mars has been in Cancer for quite some time. It's in fall in Cancer where it doesn't necessarily feel very strong. But as it moves into Leo, which is your 6th house of work, it creates an opposition with Pluto. This is the 3rd time we've experienced this opposition. And here now, I believe this is about the potential bravery and implementation of your talents and your skills in your work environment. Pluto is stationing to go retrograde. And it will do that in May for a few months. So it will retrograde back to the 0 degree of Aquarius and then move forward again. You're being liberated from some old habits of feeling potentially, not really part of a group, but absorbed within it. The Aquarius energy is it's like collective consciousness energy. The 12th house represents the transcendence of the physical back into the collective. So whatever potential wounds or psychological invisibility you may feel, you have an opportunity through your brave action and through some sort of tension to rewrite that story, to reframe that story. Venus is, I have this note, I should stop it. But Venus is now in an exact sextile to Uranus. While this is powerful, I do think that this has been going on. I don't really need the exact degree for this influence to be evident. That's what I want to say. But you could have, during this period of time, a real epiphany about your own self-worth and about your own talents and your own skills. I recently went, and I don't know what compelled me to do this, but I went and looked up Grime. She's a musician from Canada. She was she dated Elon Musk. She's got children with him, if you're unfamiliar with him or her. But she's very Piscean. She is a Pisces, and her music is very Piscean. I can't understand her lyrics. Her physical movements are very fluid. And really, for me, when I watched some of her videos, I was like, wow, this is the quintessential Piscean energy. I bring her up because if you want to see somebody whose talents are sort of outside the box, and yet she's very popular, she's authentic to herself. I think that's a good example. Not everybody's going to like it, but it will find its audience. And that's my point for my Pisces, is that as your voice says my talents are viable, and as I allow my gifts to come forward, they will find their natural audience. They will find their natural flow of resources. All right, let's go now to the 25th, where we see Mars and Pluto in an exact opposition. And for me, with this being at 3 degrees and with Pluto stationing, this is an awareness of a psychological imprint that could be making me inadvertently hold myself back in some way. And while Mars is, I don't know if I think Mars is the more powerful of these two planets. I think maybe Pluto is, because it's stationing. And when a planet is stationed, it's 5 times more powerful. But Mars's bravery to really put themselves out there in that 6th house, to try to sit on the stage, to not worry so much about the audience, but more about allowing for the flow of the performance, whatever that would be, whether you're performing organizational skills in a company, or you're actually standing on a stage, or you're in a quiet room writing song lyrics or poetry, or divining through, spiritual solutions through meditation. All of these things will be serving you, Pisces, as you stand dedicated to that and are willing to work through that opposition, because your compassion and your empathy is a beautiful, beautiful thing, but out of balance, it's an erosive thing for you. It can be where you truly do feel invisible, because you will inadvertently attract potentially narcissistic people who will just take and take and take. And this is your opportunity to have an exchange of energy as you become aware of an imprint. And you don't try to eradicate it or get rid of it. You just incorporate that intuitive knowing. All right, now let's go to the 30th. And this is where Venus joins Neptune in Aries. And again, Venus and Neptune are very good friends. So as they move into this new territory, and Venus is in detriment in Aries, but Neptune is reminding her that that's an old Muggle story, that now we live in an empowered society where the feminine energy is aware that it receives. And in that reception, it then gestates and manifests and produces. This is why Venus rules money. She rules partnerships. She rules your talents and your skills. So as the planets move into your 2nd house, you moving and pioneering into the brave energy of your own magnificence and magical powers will be so fabulous. And I really want to say this, because experience is not universal. Not everybody's going to get to experience the magic, because it's really going to be dependent upon the bravery that you have to stand in awareness of your own mental loop and emotional body. Because when we take action, when we're emotionally fearful or afraid or in lack, it doesn't serve us. It doesn't purport the outcome we want or support the outcome we want. It supports the fear. So the recognition of that, and then the connection to spirit. Thank you for appeasing my fears or making me brave enough to say, I'm willing to surrender to the outcome. That's where the power lies. And that's why I think you're such a powerful sign. And yet so often we don't really refer to it that way, because we think through the human mind versus the soul and the spirit. All right, my Pisces, that's it for April, for this month. My name is Teri Hunter. Thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and come back for more content next month. And there's all sorts of stuff on my channel. Check it out. See you soon. Bye.